So glad you're with us today. I love our guest today. I've gotten to know him, and I love the man that he is, and I love the coach that he is. I want to welcome Coach Michael Odel, head coach of the Lewisville Fighting Farmers in Lewisville, Texas. Woo! We're excited about this interview, Michael. I'm so glad.
Sir.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Michael, when you came in, you said, "Oh man, I should have worn." Hey, look, you look like a coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have you dressed any other way.
You know, I guess it is.
And
I
your
guess
legs
it is
are
fitting.
not bad. I mean, a lot prettier than mine. Now, people have said that my legs are the only. They've never seen legs whiter than my teeth, but that's it. You know. Let's talk football.
Let's do it.
Michael, you played football for Lewisville back in the 90s.
Yes, sir.
You were the coach when the Farmers had a perfect season.
A player.
You were. I'm sorry. You were a player. You were the quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Back when they had a perfect season and won state.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back, way back then, and let's talk about that.
25 years ago. Yeah. So we celebrated our 25th anniversary this past season. Just a wonderful time in Lewisville's history, school, the program. Lots of good friends off of that football team. Lots of good memories. But ultimately, everything we did, set us up for success just in life, and that's what Coach Gage and our coaches preach to us. And there's a lot of guys on that football team that are making an impact in today and where they're at. And just very proud to be a part of that team. And it was a special ride, I tell you that.
Coach, how, when you're playing, you win game after game after you're getting closer to the finals, you're getting closer to state. How much pressure as a player, especially as the quarterback, the guy, how much pressure do you put on yourself?
We'd been doing it for so long with the same guys through Little League and middle school and in high school, and we played for each other. We didn't want to let each other down. We didn't want to let our coaches down. We practiced hard. We played hard, but we had a lot of fun. We really enjoyed competing. So was there pressure? Yeah, absolutely. But did it weigh us down? I don't think so at all. I think we competed. We knew what we needed to get done. We prepared for it, and we enjoyed getting out there and putting on a show. So I never really felt the pressure that I was going to let somebody down. I just knew that I had prepared. I knew that I cared. I was fully invested. And I was just going to give them the best I got and see where the chips lied.
Do you look at your quarterbacks today? Do you try to make them like you in any way? I mean, obviously you were a successful quarterback. You won state. Hard thing to do in Texas, yes. Texas football. Is that kind of where your gifts and your passions are? Do you pay more attention to your quarterback of today, or how does that work?
Naturally, I do. I was an offensive coordinator before I became a head coach, coached quarterbacks. So naturally, my eyes go there. But everyone's different. Everyone has a different set of intangibles, their strengths, the things that they can do. But the things that I demand are some of the things that I did. You've got to take command of your huddle, of the line of scrimmage, of the play. You've got to control the tempo, the motions, the formations. You got to know what's going on and where people are. That's things that I demand and that I did. But outside of that, once the ball snapped, I mean, these quarterbacks, a lot of the ones I've coached have been very dynamic, really good players, more athletic than I ever thought about being. Mm. And really, it's just putting them in the best place to be successful, into space, and being able to use their arm and their legs, and giving them the confidence to get first downs and then touchdowns.
And their brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never been a coach, but to me it would be exhilarating to take a kid who has minimal leadership, minimal management, and to watch that kid develop into a leader. I mean, look at you today. Mm-hmm. In the 90s, you took them all the way to state. You won state. And obviously that developed you to who you are, some of who you are today.
No, absolutely. Football is this. We relate this game to life, from the classroom to at home in relationships to just to the real world, getting a job, competing for a job one day, and then getting on the field and the good, bad, and in between, the adversity we face. How do you overcome it? How do you work as a team for a common goal? These are all things that kids are going to need to be successful moving forward. And there's no doubt that that sports, football in particular, shaped my life. It gave me the confidence to lead. It was one of those things where you didn't really have a choice. The ball's in your hand every play. Mm-hmm. You got to say the play to 10 other guys. They got to follow you. So it was one of those things where it made me become an extrovert. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it, and I was pretty good at it, and I was very competitive. So I wanted things to look and be a certain way, or I wasn't happy. But those are things that I took with me into my life. Being able to finish school, being able to get into the coaching profession and work my way up from being a middle school coach to a high school position coach to a coordinator to a head coach, and go through all the levels and just work hard.
Coach, in Texas football, I mean, the Friday Night Lights is just, it's always been big. It's huge. It's huge being a head coach of a major school. Is it difficult, because you work all the time? I mean, you just work all the time. I know you do. Is it difficult managing family, football, coaching, leadership? You're investing in these kids. You probably spend, I'm assuming, as much, if not more time in these kids as you do at home.
There's no doubt we do, and that's what we signed up for. My secret is to intertwine them all. Carly and I are part, she's a part of this as well. My kids and my coaches' kids and wives are a part of it. We all try to be in this thing together. We get the families together to get to know each other, the wives, the kids, those relationships, and just try to intertwine them all. My kids know the players' names. They want to be there. They want to see them. The kid, and there's interaction there. When there's problems and issues that I've got to handle or solve, a lot of times we're helping. It's not just something that I'm going around doing all by myself. I've got a great staff, and we have great families that support us and allow us to do these things. But there's no doubt that we're away a bunch, that our wives are home doing it by themselves a lot, picking the kids up, running them to different camps, and getting them home, getting them fed, and here we come at the very end, hugging them and loving them and putting them to bed. So it is trying, but again, it's an investment that we're all involved in, and
it takes a Carly to manage that world.
There's no doubt.
She's a great wife.
Yes, she is.
You married above, way above, just like the rest of us,
Yeah.
So what brought you back to Lewisville? I mean, there's a lot of places you could have gone, but you came back home.
Yeah, when I come into this town and drive into downtown, and I get goosebumps. This place just helped mold me to who I am. It's really all I knew from a young kid, playing in the Little League associations, and fishing on the lake, or just being here, and in farmer pride and having success in athletics, and just this place is just special to me, and it's just a place that I'm a part of. That's a part of me, and when the opportunity came to come back, I was tickled to death to have the opportunity, and man, I get excited driving into work.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, I mean, it's work, it's hard work, but I'm excited, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I get to, pour into these kids, coach these kids, impact these kids. The game of football is great. I love it. I'm competitive, but the relationships with the kids is, that's a little Coach Odel out there that needs that interaction, that needs to use the game to get somewhere in life, like I was when I was a kid, and to get to do that every day in this town that helped raise me.
Sure.
I'm just tickled to death to be here.
It's the smallest little town I've ever been a part of because, our city, our mayor, city manager, all these people go to football games. It's really a rarity, I think, at the support that you get from our city politics all the way to wherever it goes. So, Coach, last year, let's talk about last year. You're winning game after game. I think you only lost 2.
Yes, sir.
The entire year. And you're close. You're close to going to the finals. How did you coach that?
Just, again, it's game by game. It's just one instance at a time.
Is it really that? I mean, that's what people say. We just play one game at a time. That's what it is.
Absolutely. It's breaking the video down on Saturday and putting a game plan together on Sunday, and Monday finishing the game plan, and the kids come, and it's just such a process of each day. You have to prepare yourself and win each day to give yourself a chance for the next day, whether it's coaching, getting the game plan together, and teaching the kids, because it can be everything you want it to be on a board, but they got to execute it. Getting the kids' bodies ready as they take a pounding the week before, and getting them conditioned and ready to go for the next game. But it's not a deal where you can look into the future. Oh, we got so and so in 3 or 4 weeks, or it's just literally it's that moment, that day. In the same way in the classroom, you can't say, I got a test in 3 weeks. Well, you better focus on that daily grade and that quiz that's coming up on Thursday. So it's just such a process. We were able to win 11, lost 2 last year, which was great to look back and reflect on. But it was a next man up, next day up, and we're Tuesday, and it's, you got the game plan in, and, you could feel a letdown coming, and you can't.
Yeah.
Every rep you take in that practice is so crucial to your success on Friday. It's really crucial to your success on Wednesday, because you got to do certain things on Tuesday to then put it into play on Wednesday for it to be the product you want it to be, to then walk through it on Thursday and check all the, make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, to get to Friday and get your legs under you where you can go perform.
A lot of moving parts.
It is. It's a lot of moving parts, but it is literally one day at a time. Kids walk around and, I want to go 3-0, I want to go 7-0, I want to go 10-0. It's a 1-0 mentality. It is a win the day mentality, and I just don't know how else to coach it.
Yeah.
But you got to stay focused on the right now.
You lost a lot of players from last year to this year. Lost some key players. How does this year look for you?
We had an amazing group of seniors that just came through here. Hats off to them. They bought in. They worked hard. Very talented kids, but very deep group that played really hard. So always want to say thanks to those seniors that came through and did everything these coaches asked them to do and more. This year's group is hungry. They're ready to step up. We have another good group of seniors, some talented young kids that are pushing them. It's exciting, the product that we're able to put on the field, and these guys learned from the group that went on. So they learned how to practice. They learned what that effort that we're looking for on the football field, what it looks like. They learned what the process looks like, from showing up in meetings on time and being all in and being locked in to each moment. And you don't just show up on Fridays and things happen. That it is a process. So these kids now, they're talented, they have a chance, but I think we could be ahead of the curve because they've got to watch firsthand, and the success that the seniors departing left.
We were talking about this earlier, and I want to get into it just a bit. how often is it that, I mean, practice is practice, strengthening and conditioning, but sometimes when the lights go on and the stadiums get full and the ball gets hiked, all of a sudden lights turn on in some kid's brain, and all of a sudden you look at him and you go, huh, that's a football player right there. How often does that happen?
Yeah, there's one or two every year. There's no doubt about it that surprises you, that gives you that wow factor, and it can go both ways. And it can go both ways. A kid that you're expecting a lot of, and they just don't quite get it done. But for the kid that, maybe a little bit slower, not quite as strong, but then you put them in the game and they're in the right place. They're making plays. They're making tackles. They're just doing the extra things that can help you win ball games. And man, you need you need players like that. You need moments like that, and it can be from your best players to your guys that are trying to make it on the field, that really show out, and you're like, wow, okay, they're making plays at more than you originally thought. But it is rewarding to see the kids.
But what about the other guy? What about the other guy where you go, man, before the games ever start, in practice you go, this guy can be a superstar, and he just doesn't make it to that level. What do you do? What do you think?
That happens. Some players look really good in shorts and T-shirts, and they make a lot of plays, and then when you get into the football game, they kind of disappear on you a little bit, and that happens at all levels. I mean, that's why the NFL, when they draft, and college football, when they recruit, you got to get your guys, you got to develop them into your system, and then they've got to take it that extra 10%. And but that happens. That's what makes sports so great.
Yeah. Is it a confidence? I mean, here, let's go deeper. Do you see a difference? And I'm talking about mentally. Do you see a difference in a kid that has come from a great home, a lot of encouragement, a lot of pushing, a lot of, do you see a difference in those kids and kids that come from pretty rough neighborhoods, or maybe didn't have a dad growing up? How do you, we're getting into a little psychology here, but how do you, I don't understand how you differentiate and then how you raise those kids in football.
Well, everyone's different, and even within the certain kid that you grab, even they're different. So everyone's just it's really about relationships, getting to know kids, figuring out their why, what makes them tick. Do they truly love this game? Are they out there for social reasons? Are they truly invested? Are they a student of the game? Can they anticipate? Is there, there's certain things that can make certain players play harder, play faster. Hopefully they know that we love them, and that I tell kids, when you screw up, you're going to get a big hug from me, and then when you do great, you're going to get a big hug from me,
It's important for those kids to know that, isn't it?
It is, and I've said it so much that they don't have a choice but to know it and believe it, because they just know it, and it's the truth. I get goosebumps when I'm in front of them. I love being in front of them. I love this place, and I love them, and they know that. And when love is involved with your program, I think kids play harder.
Yeah.
You play harder for those you care about, and you invest more for those that you love. So,
Coach, you have a passion for these kids. Now, everybody knows that. The whole city knows that. The whole city knows that for Coach Odel, it's more than football. It's about raising leaders. It's about raising these kids to go to the next level. Yeah, you're going to coach them. You're going to coach them well. You want to win. All of that is evident. But for you, and we've talked about this just in conversations, but for you, it's a heart thing. It's about reaching inside of a kid and trying to take him to where maybe he would never make it without that support.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's it. And giving them hope, giving them a foundation, letting them know they can, and letting them know that when they try and fail, we're there to pick them back up. And that's the one thing we encourage our kids to do is put yourself out there, be vulnerable. You're gonna fail. You can't grow without failure, and don't be afraid to fail. And today's social media world, some kids they found that very difficult to do that. But yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do, and you got to be able to take adversity and failure and turn it into something positive to ultimately grow and get better.
How much of your teaching, preaching, deals with academics? Yeah, I mean, you want great football players. You want to win finals in state. But how much of your teaching to your kids do you teach on academics and the importance of it?
It's something we talk about all the time, and it's relatable. I mean, if I'm going to trust you to put you on the field and to take this game plan and go execute it, I got to be able to trust you to go in so-and-so's classroom and be respectful and pay attention and do your work and turn it in on time, and that's your resume. So I'm going to pull this transcript and look, and that's your resume. And if it's got a bunch of C's and D's on it, then what does that say about you? And your effort and the time you put into it. So it is important because football's going to run out for some people. It may be 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, but everyone's going to hang it up. And you have to have that education and that degree and that work ethic that you built to get those degrees to help you when you're done. And whatever that is, it can be trade school, or it can be universities, or it can be a lot of different ways. But if it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Let's go. Let's get it done.
How do you discipline today? I mean, back in my day, and I played football in high school, one of my coaches comes in frequently, and I always tell people I was the best player he never saw. But back in those days, discipline was a lot different than it is today. I mean, it was pretty tough back then, and even back when you played, probably. How do you discipline today?
So we try to have a standard. We get the kids' input. So here's our standard, here's what we're doing, and when you fall short of it, what's the discipline? We use our leadership council to talk about those things. Obviously, there's things that we do. We don't stand for zeros, unexcused absences. Those things we don't stand for. So that'll get you some extra encouragement, extra conditioning. Any disrespect in the building to teachers will get you in a bad way. But we try to involve our leadership council to set some of these standards. So then not only are the coaches policing it, but the kids are as well.
So your leadership council is made up of teammates?
Yes. Yeah, we vote on those. We have 5 to 6 from each class. So it's a variety of ages. And we try to do a player-led system where they understand the standard and they're holding each other to it. And most of the time, we're all going to fall short. But the main thing is when we do, we learn from it. We whatever our punishment is, we accept it. That's part of the adversity, making sure that we can handle this, get through it, and be better for it on the other side. But that's a lot of the way we do it right now. But again, it's relationships with certain kids. Some kids you can raise your voice and get after them, and they respond to it. Some you can't. So it's really knowing what each kid. I talk to kids about their love language. What are their love languages? And different ways to read, EQ and understand how to. I always talk about reading body language too. Like there's lots of factors that go into when you need to discipline a kid. Sometimes I'll put my arm around him and walk him off the field and have a conversation with him. Sometimes it's all up in his business and it's needing to be done right then and there. But every kid, again, is just wired differently. Like you said before, they come from way different socioeconomic backgrounds. And you just really need to know what you're doing before you do it, because it's relationship driven.
Well, you lost a pretty good player in your running back last year. I believe he went to Oregon State. Do you keep in contact with your kids once they're out of your program?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love these kids, and their success, not only at the university they go to, but in life and afterwards, important to us. So we're here for them. You know, Damien was our running back. He's at Oregon State. Had a great spring.
Good.
Really turned heads in spring up there, and scored a touchdown in the spring game.
Oh my goodness.
You know, we'll shoot him texts every now and again, see how he's doing. A lot of time when these guys come back in town, or Monty Winfield's down at Baylor, he'll come back and jump in the weight room with those guys, or go out and train and with the receivers and DBs. So the way those guys give back and inspire the young guys, and but it's always good hearing from those guys and seeing how they're doing and keeping up with them.
Those guys, I mean, I've been told this. You can verify or say, no, that's stupid. But between senior in high school and the end of that first year in college playing ball, it's a huge growing experience for them.
Mm-hmm. It is. Academically, probably the most. But yes, you know, being on a strict schedule, a strict diet, you know, academic, study hall, and then also on the field, which is grown men. I mean, you're going from playing 16, 17-year-olds to playing 20, 21 to 24-year-old grown men. It's a different ball game. There's no doubt about it, and it's a lot for these kids. And you know, I believe Texas is one of the states that prepares kids for NCAA football better than anybody, just because of our off-season programs, our the way that we train, you know, strength-wise, speed-wise, our track programs here. So I'd like to think we have a little bit advantage here in Texas, but it is definitely a different ball game when you move on from high school.
How much, just real brief, Coach, because we have to shut down here in a minute or close out, but how much does the game speed up from high school to college?
Immensely. Every level it gets quite faster. You have to anticipate more. You have to have great awareness, instincts. It speeds up. The field shrinks. You know, the players get stronger. The holes close faster. It's just all the things. You know, that extra step is now, you know, tackle for loss instead of go ahead and making your 15 yards. So, but it does, you know, and as kids grow and keep training and learning, you know, that's how they separate themselves, is
Sure.
finding ways to find that edge against their opponents. But it speeds up quite a bit.
The guys that I've talked to through the years who actually have an opportunity to play in the NFL, they say the same thing. The speed of the game from college to the NFL is just incredibly fast.
It is. It's every level. I mean, it's you know, go out there and watch these 12-year-olds, and then watch the 14-year-olds, and then watch the junior varsity to the varsity to the you know, to small college ball to elite college ball and then of course you get to the National Football League, and it's man, it is an incredibly fast game.
Yeah.
Just elite athletes trained at it's I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But it just takes a great athlete that's really invested and again has that awareness and instinctiveness to be successful.
Coach, I could talk football with you all day long, but we have to close out here. We are so proud of you. You're not just good for the football team, but you're just a good man, great family, great roots, and the city is so proud of you. And we wish you all the success in the world this year in football, and hopefully we get to go to state. But I appreciate you being with me. Terry Sullivan here. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.